Hey, this is Viair Myles with at the Holistic Sister Circle. And if you really want to learn how to level up your life, you should be listening to the Time to Shine Today podcast with my great friend, Scott Ferguson.
I'm the Shine Today Podcast Varsity Squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and I'm super stoked about bringing my fantastic chat, interview, conversation, actually a masterclass with my good friend Viair Myles. She has the Holistic Sister Circle podcast, kind of a tongue twister there. And her story about the trauma that she went through, the anxiety she faced, and how it was really breaking down her physical body is something that you want to tune into. You might want to even get your tissues ready, because I was on the brink of shedding a couple tears because the story that she told and how the journey that she had is amazing, and how she takes those lessons from her journey and really pours them into her clients, or even just her friends and family that she cares about. Future generations is very important to VR, and not just her family and generations, other people's as well. And it just shined right through. So again, break out your notebooks. I have 3 pages of notes that I have that I'm going to implement and put into my lifestyle, even my coaching with my clients. And again, without further ado, here's my really good friend, Viair Myles. Let's level up. Time to Shine Today Podcast Varsity Squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and I got a little Florida friend here, someone that I immensely respect. We're off the mic talking for like 22 minutes. We were supposed to actually get on here and rock the mic for you guys, but we were just bouncing stuff off of each other. She planted some seeds with me that I was like, wow, I can really kind of level up and help you folks out there level up. And hopefully I did a little bit of the same for her. But it's my good friend, Viair Myles. She's a marketing strategist and founder of the Holistic Sister Circle podcast. Is also an IBS-C, which so am I, survivor who defied medical odds. After facing severe symptoms and limited help from traditional medicine, Viair turned to holistic health, which transformed her life. Now she dedicates her life to spreading awareness about holistic remedies and supports holistic health experts in gaining visibility, leveraging her marketing expertise to make a positive impact in the health community. And she is just super awesome sauce, fantastic. She has a podcast that you do not want to miss out on, the Holistic Sister Circle. Don't go there now. It'll be in the show notes, because she's going to drop some serious knowledge nuggets on your squad right now. But Viair, thank you so much for coming on. Please introduce yourself to the Time to Shine Today Podcast Varsity Squad. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
Ooh, my favorite color is pink.
Pink. You're rocking it.
It is.
I love it. If you're watching on Vimeo or YouTube, she's an absolutely stunning woman, but she's so well-spoken. And I immensely respect her. So why pink though?
Thank you. I appreciate that. So pink is bright. Pink is one of those colors that as soon as you see it, you'll stop and you'll turn and you'll look. And for me, I mentioned this too before the show. I like to be behind the scenes. I like to I'm very shy.
Right.
So
But
for
you're going to
me,
work on that.
I am working on that. I'm working on that, right? But for me, it gave me an opportunity to have a color that really stood out to me and to other people.
Yes.
And it was a great conversation starter too.
Absolutely. And it's funny because I got the dark skin. Like yesterday, I was speaking at a very casual event in Palm Beach, right? And I had a pink t-shirt and blue shorts on and stuff like that. And the guy's like, hey, you need to talk to one of the coaches in the area, that guy in the pink shirt. And I'm 6'1", I'm like 230. I'm kind of a big dude, so I like stand out, right? And they were just thinking the pink. I'm like, yeah, I can rock pink. I can rock the yellows and everything like that. No, pink is in your colorway. I love this. So Viair, let's get to the roots. Like, where are we starting in life? I know you went through I had irritable bowel syndrome, like wicked bad in 2006, right? And I cured it through holistic, ways. The medicine was just eating me away, and I did my thing. But really want to kind of dig into your past, how you kind of got to a form of homeostasis, right? And how you really have a passion for helping others do the same.
Yeah, of course. So one, thank you for having me on the show, Scott. I really appreciate
You're welcome,
it. But
Viair.
when it came to my IBS, a lot of it had to do with childhood trauma. When I was younger, just growing up, I suffered from, again, anxiety, stress. When I was in certain situations and I felt like it was a lot of pressure on me, I internalized that. I shut down my feelings. I didn't want to talk about it. I ran away from problems, from conflict. And growing up, I realized that conflict is necessary. It's needed for change, it's needed for improvement. And there was not a way for me to really be able to showcase my talents and my expertise and also be able to help others if I didn't embrace it.
Ooh,
So for
love
a
it.
long time, I wasn't embracing it, and it didn't hit me until it affected me internally.
Mm,
So over the years, it was hard to date.
sure.
Over the years, it was hard to have just conversations with family around the topic. I
Mm,
would go to family events and they would eat whatever they wanted, and I would eat it. And 3 days later, I'm having chronic pain,
yes.
can't go to work,
Yeah.
can't do anything because I'm in so much pain.
Mm,
Hospital visit after hospital visit, and I just got tired of it.
mm.
I had my first colonoscopy at 24. And during that process, I
Oof.
remember the doctor telling me, you're going to have to live with this for the rest of your life.
Mm,
And it truly affected my quality of life in every area. I didn't feel like I had a community. I didn't feel like anyone really understood me and what I was going through. And last year was the first year where I learned about alternative medicine. So during that process, I remember I was on a work call. This was at the time I was actually working for an advertising agency, and I was on a work call and I felt lightheaded. I felt like I couldn't breathe, and I was holding my stomach because I was in so much pain. So I got my keys, walked to the car, and as soon as I got to the closest hospital I could think of, I walked inside and I collapsed.
oh my gosh.
And
So
I
the
was having
adrenaline carrying you in there,
I
right? Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
I was having an anxiety attack at the same time that I was
Mm,
having a crisis. I couldn't tell if it was the turmoil of the crisis or if it was actually just me having another cyst episode, because with IBS-C, especially in women, you typically also have cystic ovaries. So I wasn't
yeah.
sure what it was, but I knew that it couldn't stop here.
Right.
And I had all of these people coming over to me trying to calm me down. And I knew at that moment that I was completely removed from my body.
Right.
And when I got to the when I got inside and they ran all these different tests, they said, "We don't know what's wrong with you."
Mm,
I'm like, "What do you mean you don't know what's wrong? Clearly there's something wrong."
right.
And that was a wake-up call for me. A few
Right.
months later, I went to a gynecologist because I wanted to learn more about my fertility options, again with IBS, especially in women.
Right.
Typically, fertility is a concern. Infertility is a concern.
Right.
She told me that my uterine lining was too thin to carry a child. So not only did it affect my quality of life, but now it affected the children I couldn't potentially have.
Right.
So in that moment, I said, "Well, do you have any other options for me?" She said, "Well, you can get on birth control." I said, "Well, I don't want to do that because I eventually want to have children."
Bear a child. Yes.
She
Yes.
said,
Yes.
"Well, we didn't learn about alternative medicine in medical school. That's
Mm,
not something that we're taught.
right.
So if you want to go down that route, you're going to have to see someone else."
That's transparent from the doctor, though, right? It's like, listen, it's like, I don't really believe in it, but I really didn't learn it, so give it a shot, right? Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm sorry. I cut you. I'm sorry. I'm giving a medical professional some props here, which I rarely do. So,
No, I appreciated that
yeah,
because that was a wake-up call for me.
yeah,
It
yeah,
really showed me that, Veer, you're gonna have to figure this out on your own.
right,
You're on your own with this. What you thought was to be true, it just isn't. And you're going to have to listen to your own body, listen to your own intuition, and do the things that you're called to do.
yeah,
So I had a I was thinking I remember a few weeks prior to this incident, I had a conversation with a friend and she was telling me that she was at the hair salon and she had learned there that a lady was talking about holistic health. So I
hmm,
called her and I said, "What was that lady again? What was her number?" And I just told her what happened and she gave me her information. And I go, "Okay, what do I need to do?" So I
right,
call her up, go into an appointment, and she says, "Well, IBS is really triggered from trauma.
mm,
You're holding on to trauma and it's affecting your organs."
yes,
And I said, "Oh." Really? She said, yeah, it's very simple. It's a symptom. It's not something that you're going to have to truly deal with forever.
Yes.
And that gave me hope.
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
started working with her. I started working with a nutritionist, and then I started working with a remedy coach.
Mm,
I don't know if anyone is familiar with Surviving Vegan Academy, but I learned the circadian rhythm, how to eat, what to eat, when to eat
yeah.
in that program,
According to your body, though, right?
according
Because a
to
lot
my
of people
body.
different have different ones.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. According to my body. I learned how to research, whether it was Google Scholar, whether it was books, but learn how to research and identify, okay, these are the issues that are happening in my body. Now
Right.
let me do proper research to see what I need to do to make sure that they don't continue to come up.
Right.
And within 90 days, I was symptom free.
Wow. Isn't that amazing how the brain and the trauma that is just stuck there and unlocked? Was there like coaching therapy involved in this holistic as well
Oh,
here?
yes. So
Okay.
after those 90 days,
Mhm.
I sat in meditation. I said, I do this a lot, but I ask my body, what do you need from me today? So I'll put my hand over my heart and I'll sit in a quiet room, take a couple deep breaths. Body, what do you need from me today?
Mm.
And what I heard back was, I need you to focus on your emotions.
Ooh.
So I started researching therapists and I came across a trauma therapist. And that's really when the inner work began,
Yeah.
because the physical was, you could see that
Yeah.
physically I was in pain, but
Sure.
mentally, emotionally, that took some work.
Right.
I was in trauma therapy for a few months and I learned more about abuse.
Sure.
And I don't think sometimes our parents or our grandparents and great grandparents really realize this, but whatever we don't do in our lifetime, it gets passed down to our children.
Oh, 100%. Yes.
Whatever we decide that
Yeah.
we don't want to focus on, or we put off, or we say we'll do later and never get to it. And now our children become that person
Yes.
that not only lives with their own internal battles,
Right.
but yours too.
Oh my gosh, that's so true. It's just hereditarily kind of put down like from both sides, and it's funny that I'm so glad that you reached out to a trauma therapist. Okay, because when I start coaching clients, the first thing I do if I'm local, if I'm blessed to have them locally, is we get in their car, right? And we put them in their driver's seat. I sit in the passenger seat and I say, listen, like this rear view mirror right here, it's small for a reason. That's your past, right?
Right.
It's a great place to visit and learn from, but not a great place to live. And this windshield here is huge and scary, and this is where you're going. And since 2011, they put this thing on the dash called a GPS. That's me. Like, I'm not going to buckle your seatbelt if you choose to start the car and drive it for you, but I'm there to help you get and bridge that gap, right? And but if they're stuck in here, in that mirror, I have to refer them. I would be doing a disservice to them. So I'm so happy that you really reached to somebody for that rearview mirror to help pull you forward and move forward. That's big boy pants stuff there, honey. You know what I'm saying? That's awesome. So are you right now, because we joked off the mic that you're a coach consultant, which you kind of have to be, right? And Squad, what I mean by that is she coaches people and she consults people. But let's get to like the how you use this experience from trauma. You work holistically to really level up your life. And Squad, if you want the full story, do go to our podcast. So there is an episode there, which I will put in the show notes. Just we're limited on time. But like with like how are you using your experience right now to really pour into others and help them level up?
Absolutely. So I realized that this experience, it didn't stop with me. My
Ooh,
partner has sickle cell anemia, and one of his daughters also has sickle cell.
okay.
So being around them, it allowed me to see that, okay, not only do I need to work on my food and my emotions, but they do too.
Mm,
And then it didn't stop there. My uncle, he can't hear or talk. He is deaf and he has diabetes.
mm,
My dad, high blood pressure. So I was seeing all of these different people in my life where they were having health concerns, and they weren't getting the answers that they were looking for either.
Right.
So I said, well, I'm not an expert in those areas, but what I could do is learn more about the industry and start networking with experts
Ooh,
and really
love it.
building my own wellness dream team community. Where
Yes.
if you're connected with me, then
You're
you're
connected
also
with them.
connected with my squad.
That's badass. That is awesome.
So we
Yeah.
have people in the community who are sickle cell anemia experts. We have
Mm.
nutritionists. We have people who focus on IBS, gut health, and chronic constipation. We have people who focus on trauma therapy and sound healing and yoga and meditation and whatever you're looking for, whatever you, again, have these conversations with your body first.
Yes.
Figure out what your body is telling you and what it is that you need. And then we
Right.
have the resources for you. And that
Right.
was the purpose behind it. That's actually why I started the podcast, because I started interviewing or really gathering research from the industry. And they told me that they had such a hard time communicating what they did to potential clients. They had a hard time being seen, being heard, being understood. And I said, wow, what better way to help them than to allow them to have an opportunity to share their story?
Yes. And you
And
do.
that's where
They're,
that's where it
yeah.
started.
And I love that they're short form, like meaning they're 17, 20 minutes. You know what I'm saying? It's awesome because people can blow through three in an hour. I mean, if a commute's driving to work is 30, 40 minutes, they can listen to two shows and really pick
Exactly.
it up and really dig in. I love that you're letting other people speak in that's holistic. A lot of people think holistic is granola and this and the herbs and essential oils. People don't realize that holistic squad is whole body. That's all
Yes.
that means. So there are times, even holistically, we need a doctor,
Oh,
right?
yes,
We need
absolutely.
that to be holistic. But why put stuff in your body that man had made when if you can use what God's made, right? If that's who you believe is your creator squad, but mine, I'm a Christian. If you believe God made it and put that in your body to heal you, why not, right? And it's a lot less money, and I mean it works. So do you work well if someone kind of comes in to you to kind of consult or be to really reach out to a branch of your dream team, okay, and you're in a discovery conversation, is there any process or secret sauce, if you don't mind sharing, that you use to maybe help them identify the blind spot that's really holding them back, like what's really there? Because you said before that holding trauma, right? Is there anything you kind of talk to them about that really kind of raises that up into the shining light?
Yes. So for me, the whole purpose around it was really to identify who I needed around me to build my own wellness dream team.
Yeah.
So I'm not like we were saying, doctors are not bad, right? There's an
No.
opportunity where you do need a doctor,
Yeah.
but you need to understand from your own personal experience and what your body is telling you, which doctor is the most important and aligns with you at this moment in time in your life. So if you are someone, and again, I really focus on helping these health experts get their messages out. But if you're someone who is maybe looking to work with a health expert and you're not sure if I mean, you might not even be sure if you even have trauma, because a lot of times we don't even know if it's trauma. We just know that we're crying all the time and we feel like we're depressed or we have a ton of anxiety, right?
Sure.
But what you can do is take some time to yourself and really write out your feelings. Write out what it is that you are feeling in this moment, where you feel like these feelings are trapped. Is it in your head? Is it in your stomach? Are you constipated? Is it in your colon? And then once you write those down, now say, okay, based on what I see here, do you see a pattern? Because a lot of times the trauma that we're holding on to is a pattern of thoughts, beliefs, and decisions that we've experienced over time that we never
Yes.
physically let go.
Yes.
And that's how when it's time to get some help.
Yes. Yeah.
So from there, you can decide, okay, is this trauma affecting me emotionally? Am I all over the place?
Right.
If it is, you probably need to see maybe someone who specializes in trauma therapy.
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
affecting your physical body
Right.
where you're not eating, or maybe you're overeating, you're emotionally eating?
Right.
Maybe we need to start focusing on more of how can you allow that energy to to take hold in other spaces and places. Maybe
Well,
you're eating because you're stressed. I know when I was stressed, and even to this day, sometimes when I'm stressed, I eat chips,
Yeah.
crunchy. I like the crunch when I'm stressed.
I'm right there with you. I'd be fighting you for the bag. Trust me. Yeah. Yeah, that's salty. Yeah. When that ghirlin gets kicked on and you just keep eating it, man, it's like that hormone.
Yeah. So
Love
if
it.
that's the case, then maybe you need to focus on more of a
Yeah.
nutrition recommend and learn more about the nutrition aspect of it and how it affects your feelings and your emotions.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's
Not
a spiritual warfare,
sure.
right? Not everyone, I don't know what everyone believes, but for me, I do believe in God and I do believe that he is my being. So
Yeah.
with that, what has he called me to do that I'm not doing? Am I giving him an opportunity to have the space and the time and the effort to hear so I can hear from him? If my
Yeah.
mind is clogged up with all these thoughts and emotions and I'm helping all these people and I'm
Yeah.
not spending time with myself, how can I hear from him?
Right.
I can't.
And so many people don't give themselves the grace and space to
Right.
communicate with their creator, to communicate with the higher being. So, Vier, maybe you're still talking to these people and you're figuring out, hey, which dream team member, which way are we going to go to have the energy to hold their places and spaces? But is there any good question that you wish they would ask you but never do?
The wellness experts or just someone who was looking for
Someone that's
wellness
come to you
experts?
to be kind of referred to your dream team.
Right. One of the biggest questions that I would like someone to ask is based on your experience, when it's time to outsource?
Mhm. Gotcha.
And I say that because a lot of the time, the answers are already inside of you.
Hmm.
And we
Oh,
think
yeah.
that we need to talk to this person and this person has all the answers and they can do it and they can really help me. But in reality, they can only help you as much as you can help yourself.
Right. Thank
So if
you.
you're not
Yeah.
putting yourself in a position, you're
Hmm.
hearing from, again, your creator, your higher power, you're hearing what your body is speaking to you based on the physical aspect of it. You're
Right.
listening to your emotions and how they're affecting your judgment and your discernment. How is the dream team actually going to be able to help you in time of need when you can't help yourself?
Right.
So having that space to really listen to where you
Yes.
are is going to make sure that the team that we assign to you is really meant for you within that period that you need them.
Dude, that's amazing. And what I love here is you're not cookie cutter. You actually give up a lot about where they're at. You are super empathetic. I think you might have some empathness in you as well. I'm not a big believer in that world, but I think that you really feel off of other people, which
I
is a
do.
fantastic trait. But as we move forward here, have you seen the movie Back to the Future?
I have not.
Okay, well, it's about this dude. It's almost 40 years old. I saw it when I was basically a teenager, so that's my age of myself. But so there's this guy, he goes back, he gets in this DeLorean car and he goes back in time. Right. So I want you to get in that DeLorean car with him, okay? And go back in time to the double deuce, the 22-year-old Viair. Okay. What kind of knowledge nuggets, that's what we call them here at Time to Shine today. What kind of knowledge nuggets might you drop on her? Not so much to change anything, because you kind of had to go through this experience, this trauma, so you can really lean into other people, but to maybe shorten a learning curve or blast through maybe just a little bit quicker.
Absolutely. I would say to have grace. One of the things that I didn't have at that time in my life was I didn't have grace for myself. You hear all of these gurus when it comes to health and fitness and
Mm.
and spiritual warfare saying all of these different things of this is what you need to do and you need to do this and you need to do that. And in reality, you need to do what's best for you.
Yes. Yes.
Like like everybody, like body here on earth, every
Body. Yeah.
human body and every human experience is different.
Yeah.
The way that I see things, my lens is completely different from the way that you see things.
Yes.
So I can give you my experience and you can learn from the experience, but I can't give you the steps in your lesson
Right.
because
Yeah.
I don't have that ability to do that.
Right.
And I think back then I was listening so much to other people and what they thought and what they believed that I didn't allow myself to have that space to give myself grace when I made mistakes and to allow those mistakes to really carry me forward.
You let them fester
I
instead.
did.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
let
you
them
held them in.
fester. I
Yeah.
absolutely did.
Oh. So, Viair, how do you want your dash remembered? That little line in between your incarnation date and your expiration date, your life date and death date. Hopefully, it's way down the line. But how do you want Viair's dash remembered?
So, my ultimate goal, because I know right now we're in a health crisis and I
Mhm.
don't know how long we will be in one, but my ultimate goal is I know that one person listening, taking this information in, talking to health experts, really understanding how to build their own intuition and learn from it
Sure.
and build their own wellness dream team, that's one generation changed.
Yes.
Because if you can take the knowledge and the power and then use these tools in your own life, not only can you help heal yourself with the proper resources and experts, of course, but you can heal your partner,
That is
your
freaking money,
kids.
dude. That is, dude, that
Yeah,
is all that's amazing. Each person helped flows in the generation. Like it just pours into the next one. That's
that's it.
amazing. So, Vier, then if people really knew you, they would know what?
Mm. If people really knew me, they would know that I care.
Yeah.
And when I say I care, I mean I don't care for me.
Yeah.
I care for you
Yeah.
because you have a story. We all have a
Yes.
story and we bury our story with disbelief, with
Yes.
insecurity, festering in our bodies, with frustration, with all of these emotions of depression. And we don't
Yes.
use it as fuel to help somebody else.
Yeah. That's amazing. And the way that you can have that bandwidth to really care about somebody else and still level your life up is because you've acknowledged the trauma, you've sought the help, and you've started living the holistic lifestyle. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. That's transparent. That's really good. How about like what is Viera's different definition of a life well lived?
Mm, I had to take a deep breath on that one.
All right.
I believe a life well lived is one that you experience for you. And that can mean something different for everybody, but it gives you an opportunity to learn and discover who you truly are. Because I do believe our lives, the like while we're here on earth, is we're in a discovery phase. We're here to break generational curses. We're here to really understand and to learn
Yes.
and to grow. And what happens at a very young age is we have other people's insecurities, disbeliefs,
Thank
and
you.
frustrations on
Yes.
us. And we
Yes.
spend time over the years removing them so we can become who we were created to be.
Right. And then when you get there, you can pass that down to the generations and things get better. I love that. Man, that's
Exactly.
such a knowledge nugget that I picked up today. Thank you so much. Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. We are back and we're gonna hook up one time in Tampa. We're gonna rock some stages because I'm gonna make sure that you're speaking on stage.
Thank
But
you.
we will talk about some of these questions, maybe 15, 20 minutes over a cup of coffee or something good eats. But today you have 5 seconds with no explanations, but they can all be answered that way. I promise you. You ready to
Okay.
level up?
All right, let's do it.
Here we go. VR, what is the best leveling up advice you've ever received?
Keep going.
Yes. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
Breathing.
So if you see me walking down the street and you're like, man, Fergie looks in his like he's in his doldrums a little bit, what book might you hand me that really had an impact on you to really level up?
Atomic Habits.
James, hear that, Jamesy? I've been blessed to speak with him a few times. He's actually a really great guy in person too. So that's fantastic. So, Vier, what is your most commonly used emoji when you text?
Hard eyes.
There you go. Nicknames growing up?
V.
The Gotcha. Any hidden talent or superpower that you have that nobody knows about until now?
I speak sign language.
Wow, that's amazing. Yes. Chess, checkers, or Monopoly?
Checkers.
Me too. So keep it simple. You got other things to do. Headline for your life.
Hmm. Keep it relatable.
Yes. Any superstitions you believe in?
I don't know.
No,
Needs
me
five
neither, to
seconds.
be honest with you.
I'm like, I
I
don't
don't really
know.
have any. Go-to ice cream flavor.
I don't eat ice cream.
Me neither. I just throw it in there. If I do, it's like a vanilla. So there's a sandwich called the V. Build that sandwich for me. What's on that sandwich?
Is it real?
The real
Like real
sandwich.
food?
Yeah.
Okay. Sandwich called the V. We have cucumbers,
Mm,
pickles, spinach, kale,
okay.
oregano,
Ooh,
oil and vinegar,
nice.
olives,
Ooh, black or green?
black olives, and
Me
banana
too.
peppers.
Ooh, perfect. I am not a vegetarian at all, but I would eat that. That sounds really good. Fantastic. Last question, and you can elaborate on this one, but what is the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
Definitely 90s.
90s, really? Okay. Very cool. Why? You don't look old enough
Well,
to like the 90s, so
well, I was born in the 90s.
okay. You what year?
92.
92? Okay, very cool. You're like a little baby. I was born in 72, so I got like 2 decades on you. Awesome sauce. Good stuff. So, VR, how can we find you, my love?
So you can find me on Instagram at Viair Myles, Facebook Viair Myles, LinkedIn Viair Myles, literally everywhere Viair Myles. You can
Yes.
also find me on at the Holistic Sister Circle. That's on all podcast platforms.
Yes.
And we're also on Instagram and Facebook.
Yes, you are absolutely everywhere. And it's a like your content is fantastic. And like you have to go, I allow you to go now, squad, to her podcast, which is be in the show notes as well. And she has fantastic interviews, and she's going to start putting out a lot more about her just herself. Because if you notice, she was super well spoken here. And like you need, I'm sorry, I'm going to keep pushing you. You're going to probably get encouraging texts from me, probably more than you want to. She says she's shy, but like, come on, man, you rock this. So do me one last solid and leave me with one last knowledge nugget. Actually, leave the squad with one last knowledge nugget we can take with us, internalize, and take action on.
Absolutely. The biggest one I would say is the breath. I didn't get into it that much in the
Yeah.
lightning round, but really focusing on your breath. And what I mean by that is inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And it
Yeah.
three times.
Yeah.
In for 4, out for 4, in
Yeah.
for 4, out for 4. And
So a
that
form of box
literally
breathing in a sense, then, right?
exactly.
Yeah,
That will literally calm
it does.
everything.
Yes. Before combat, we did that. You know what I'm saying that was our breathing. It was,
Yes.
and breathing from the diaphragm.
Yes.
Pushing the stomach out and then into the chest is the easiest way that I can explain it. There's more to it than that. But let me ask you something. When you exhale, are you exhaling through mouth or nose for yourself?
For me, I'm exhaling through mouth.
Okay, very good. Me
So
too.
I like to sigh it out.
Yes. I
Big
like to,
sigh.
like when I do breathing with my clients, I like to purse my lips for myself, like almost like I'm blowing out a candle, right?
Yes.
And get that out. That's the way that it works for me the best. Like a lot of people will be like, wait, Fergie, I'm like, listen, what's going to work for you? We're going to generate that oxygen. We're going to saturate that and really get you going. It's going to help with so much stuff, not only just breathing better, but building up your immune system and breathing up your
Yes.
brain. Because when you do that, you're kind of for a minute depriving the brain of oxygen just for like a little bit, which it's searching for. And when you give it back, it's like, dude, I'm ready to get to work. Right.
Exactly.
So that's
It really,
amazing.
yeah, it really is a way to just to detoxify the body. So if you
Yes.
find yourself super
Yes.
stressed or
Detox.
high
Yes.
anxiety,
Yeah. I love it.
yeah,
And squad, I know we went a little bit longer than usual, but I had to on this one because VR she's just such an amazing person who's an IBS survivor. She's dealt with trauma since her childhood with anxiety, stress, and the pressure. She really internalized it. Right. But she kind of understood that conflict is needed for change and improvement. So she really took that and found out that she was holding trauma in her organs that was affecting her body. She kind of like now gets to the point of really asking her body, what do you need from me today? She started to really work on emotions. And what we're doing now, and if you can just level up yourself or one person, it's really going to bleed down into other generations, which just makes this world a much better place. I never get negative on the world, but we're not in a really great place. So if we can just really bleed it down into somebody that we care about, it's just going to be really into the future generations. She's not a cookie cutter. She's going to find out what you're dealing with, and she has her dream team that she's putting together to be a resource for all issues of the body and the mind, which is, and she's going to find out which doctor is going to align with you best. She wants you to really ask, what are you being called to from a higher power? What are you really put on this earth to do? And what Viair's doing is she's planting trees she's never going to sit in the shade of, right? She's really passing it forward. She does it for the intention, not the attention. I mean, she's a beautiful woman. She could be rocking all that out there, but she's really pouring into other people that it really wants to use the bandwidth that she has to really care for others. But first, she's caring for herself as well. She probably has this like little morning routine that is about her so she can pour into others. And she's just somebody that I immensely respect. She does it scared. She levels up her health. She levels up her wealth. She's humble yet hungry. She's stunning. And just look at that smile, man. So thank you so much for coming on. You earned your varsity letter here at Time to Shine today. I absolutely love your guts. And I can't wait to collaborate with you in the future for real.
Thank you so much for having me, Scott. I really appreciate you and your audience. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. We'll chat soon.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Time to Shine Today podcast. Proudly brought to you by Sutter & Nugent Real Estate Excellence, who can be reached at 561-249-7266 and online at www.sutterandnugent.com. If you are a business owner or professional who would like to be interviewed on Time to Shine Today, please visit timetoshinetoday.com/guest. If you like this episode, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to our website. Also there, you will see our recommended resources. We hope that you will support our show by supporting them. If you like what you've been listening to, it'd be great if you could just give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe while you're at it. I'm your host, Scott Ferguson, and until next time, let's level up. It's our time to shine.